Water in the natural environment. Okay, I can't remember where I left my keys, but useless information like this never leaves me. I love it. I'm statistics and all that kind of stuff. I'm great at that. Do you realize that 75% of all people that live in industrialized nations, we're talking about industrialized nations like the USA and Europe, where you can just go to any faucet, turn on the faucet or open the faucet, and water is coming out. Good water, treated water, clean water. 75% of all people in industrialized nations live in the state of chronic dehydration. Now that's ridiculous. You got water anywhere and everywhere you want it. If it comes down to it, you can go down the garden hose and slurp on it. You know, water anywhere. And 75% live in the state of chronic dehydration. That's ridiculous. They're drinking all day long. You go down there to the McDonald's or whatever it is, you got the big slurp glass, everybody's running around with these big glasses, but everybody drinks that which is not going to take away their dehydration. They drink coffee. They drink Coca-Cola. They drink Slurpees. They drink whiskey. They drink beer. They drink anything but that which is going to give them life. Do you realize that if your urine is yellow, you're dehydrated? And most people have never seen their urine anything but yellow. You're looking at me like like a tree full of owls here. A tree full of... Why? Because we honestly thirst after that which doesn't satisfy. That's the truth. 37% of the people that are overweight have the nerve that detects thirst is actually atrophied. It has fallen into such disuse that it cannot discern the difference between thirst and hunger. So when their body tries to tell them they're thirsty, yeah, if you guys say amen, I say how. What's the truth? Do you realize that water is the only substance that can satisfy your thirst? It's the only substance. People say, I'm thirsty. They go open up a beer. That's not going to do anything. That's an excuse. You think you want to drink a beer. Because the only thing that's going to satisfy your thirst is water. I call it the preferred drink of the dying. A dying person doesn't say, beer, Coca-Cola. Yeah. You know? What does a dying person ask for? Water. This guy scraping across the desert floor. Beer, no. It doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. He wants water. He's scraping across the desert floor and he tumbles into a dry ravine. And he remembers from his 6th grade geology class, to find water, you have to look for where it last was. This ravine, water ran through here. And he begins to dig for water. And he strikes oil. I'm rich! Is he happy? No. He's dead. Because what he really needs is water. And then that just shows us, for all these things we seek after in life, what we really need is water. What we really desire is water. We cover it up with all kinds of stuff. We deceive ourselves thinking we're satisfied with that, but what we really need when it comes down to it is water. But we substitute that water for Coke, for beer, for money, for illicit sex, for fame, for popularity, for our looks, for our brains, for academia, for anything else, thinking that will satisfy our thirst. And Jesus said, he who had drinks of this water again will have thirst again. How much money does it take for a rich man to be satisfied? Just a little bit more. Do you realize that water is the only substance, the only agent of cleansing? Nothing else can clean. Nothing else removes germs. Nothing else removes dirt. Nothing else. You say, well, soap. Well, take a bar of soap or some Tide and scrub yourself with it without water and see what it does. You say, well, alcohol will do it. The only thing that's doing it in alcohol is the water that's in the alcohol. The only thing that soap does is changes the consistency of water so that water can do its job. That's the only thing that soap does. But if you rub your hands, the mechanical action of rubbing your hands under a flow of water will remove more than 98% of all the dirt, of all the bacteria, of all the pathogens, the viruses from your body or from your hands. The problem with that consists in the fact that germs or any microscopic life forms, microbiotic life forms, multiply at the pace of 1 million per hour. So if you don't remove them all, very promptly, they will reproduce and repopulate. Okay? What soap does, soap's an antistatic, or it's an antibacterial. It can kill germs, but if you don't have water to remove those dead germs, those one or two will multiply, and then they have plenty of food because they eat their own dead. Okay? Are you following me? So the only agent of cleansing is water. It's the only thing that satisfies your thirst. It's the only thing that can clean you. Do you realize that 3/4 of the surface of the earth is water? 60% of the oxygen that we breathe comes from that 3/4 of the surface of the earth that is water. 60% of the oxygen that you breathe comes from water. Now the other 40% comes from the plants, right? Comes from the plants. But if the plants don't have water, hello. So we can actually say that 100% of the oxygen that we breathe comes from water. Are you listening to me? Who's hearing me today? How many of you are understanding how important water is? How essential water is? Do you realize that now the statistic varies from body to body, but more than 80% of the human body is water. More than 80% of the human body is water. More than 98% of your brain is water. In other words, water is the absolutely most essential, most vital thing to maintain your life. So, many of the diseases, of the pathogens, of the common afflictions that people suffer in their life, even aging brothers and sisters, if you are dehydrated, your cells dry out, and it increases the appearance of aging. It dries out your joints, increases your opportunity for arthritis. It slows your intellectual capacity. 3% dehydration slows your intellectual capacity by a good 30 to 35%, your reaction time. Why? Because 98% of your brain is water. Most people suffer unnecessary headaches because they don't drink enough water. Various forms of cancer are caused by lack of water because toxins aren't purged from your body. And look at this. A lot of people don't drink water because they don't like it. I don't like it. Water tastes nasty. Most people are so poisoned because of the lack of water that flows through their body that if they drink water first thing in the morning, you just get up, sit up in bed, drink a liter of water, they would actually regurgitate. They feel nauseated. Why? Because of all those toxins that have settled in your stomach. Because all that junk you drank during the day, your body doesn't know what to do with it. All I wanted was the water, and you gave me all this stuff. So it stores it in your fat, and during the night, you begin to burn off those things, and those poisons settle in your stomach, and then when you drink that water, it feels like you're going to get sick. Or when you fast, you start burning off those poisons that you put in your body because of the other things that you put in besides the water, and then you feel nauseated. And if you're fortunate, you'll regurgitate and get rid of some of those poisons. Is it always as quiet as the First Presbyterian Church in here? Now, what am I saying here? What am I saying? Now, there's, like I said, there are a lot of things we can think about that. But what we're saying is water is the most indispensable substance that we need in our life. It's the most vital substance. It's life-giving. It's health to us. It means everything to us. But people thirst after other things. They desire other things. Their actual passion is for other things. Jesus said that must be born again. Because, well, people are born, we get born of the Spirit. You know, when people are born of the Spirit, I'll tell you what happens. Your appetite for sin disappears. I want to become a Christian, you know. What happens when you're born of the Spirit, you know, people think they really do God a favor. The grace of God works in us. He shows us that we need Jesus, and so we seek for Jesus. And we think we've done God a favor because we gave our life to the Lord. Well, wait a minute. That life that you gave to Christ, the only reason you gave it to Christ is because you realized it was no good. It was lost. It was beat up, chewed up, spit out, stepped on, and scraped off on the curb. Lord, take it. And we think we gave him can you imagine? You got some gum. It got a little bit of sugar left in it. Gee, you want this? I want it? You can have it. Or maybe it doesn't have any sugar left in it. It's all gone. You're just chewing on it. You're tired of chewing on it now. Then you're going to give it to the Lord. And you think you gave God a favor. Look, I gave him my gum. I gave Jesus my heart. Well, your heart was no good. He had to throw it away and give you another one. You know, he took away your heart of stone. He gave you a heart of flesh. I mean, anything we've given to him is because sin had just busted it up and broke it and spit it up, and it was no good. And so we gave it to Jesus. That's the truth. Like I said, I got saved at 17. I never used profanity. I hated alcohol. My wife is my very first girlfriend. I married well into my 20s. I was a virgin when I married. In other words, I wasn't a womanizer. My problem was I thought I was good enough to go to heaven, and God showed me, when he showed me I was a sinner, I didn't think he would ever forgive me. I thought, man, how could, Well, so even that, I didn't curse. Like I said, I never used profanity. I considered profanity the weak efforts of a weak mind attempting to express itself forcefully. I saw no need for profanity. Now, that didn't come from my family upbringing because, my parents and brothers and sisters, they had a vocabulary that would blister the paint on a battleship, I tell you. But I just saw that totally worthless. I just thought, that's no good, And so, but I saw that I was a sinner, lost and undone. And that without the mercy of Christ, I had nothing. And so even that, none of our lives were worth anything. We were lost. And we think we did God a favor by giving him that. Now think about it. Leaving sin is only beneficial for you. I pray that this will transform our entire thought about what it means to be born of the water, Lord.